What's going on, everybody? I am here today with a review for Vanderpump Rules. This is season 7. This is episode number 1, and it is titled A Decent Proposal. So, I decided to do this show because it's a show that I actually like to watch, but there are a lot of people on this show that I just cannot stand. But I'm going to put that to the side because I want to talk about this show because every year I tweet about it. So this year I wanted to talk about it on camera. So I'm gonna start by talking about the people who are on the show that I'm gonna go on by each person that I like and dislike. So for my dislike side, you have Stassi on that dislike side, you have Kristen on that dislike side, and you have James on that dislike side, and you definitely have Jax Taylor on that dislike side. Now on the side of people that I like Sheena. I know most people don't like Sheena, but I like Sheena. I like Ariana, I like Lala, and I like Brittany, but I think Brittany is a little bit dumb. And I'm not gonna say dumb. I think she's love struck and very dumb with her love struckness. I love Shorts. With Katie, I can take or leave Katie. When it comes down to Sandoval, I like Sandoval up until he cries, and Vanderpump is Vanderpump. Ken is Ken. Did I say Lala? I like Lala. Who else do we have? I think that's about it. So without further ado, I'm going to get started with the video. And if I left anybody out, I will talk about them in the video. All right, so this episode, it opened up at Jax and Brittany's apartment. We actually saw, all the kids in SUR working. But this episode, it started with Jax and Brittany. So what happened is when they were on, not filming, I guess, James is still back DJing at SUR, which I don't think James hypes himself up so much, and I'm like, you're not that hot, but if he believes, if nobody believes it but you, that's good. So apparently what happened is James was DJing. He DJs on Tuesday nights. So one Tuesday night he, was DJing, and then he got up and he started rapping, and he was rapping about when, Jax fucked Faith last season, and Brittany was also working that day. So Brittany overheard it, and, it, upset Brittany, which, that would upset me too. If you sit here, first of all, you and Jax made up last season, and here you are talking about him fucking Faith in front of his girlfriend. Like, how disrespectful can you be? How much of a prick can you be? Like, what the hell? So, Jax is talking about how he chose his dream girl over his dream job. And, here's my thing when it comes to Brittany. Brittany, like I said, I think Brittany is dumb in love with Jax because there's no way in fucking hell I would be with somebody that I don't 100% completely trust. Like, if there's no trust, why are you with this person? Like, a part of me wonders if Brittany has low self-esteem, because that's the only thing I can understand is if she had low self-esteem and wanted to be with Jax, because other than that, it just makes zero sense. Like, what? Like, I don't get it. So, also when this whole thing happened when James Brittany left, but Jax, he's just not over it, so... And I can't get over Jax's teeth, how stacked they are at the bottom, and then up here they are kind of fucked up too. I'm like, oh. So then we see Jax, he's dropping Brittany off at SUR. So, she didn't even get to get out the car before he did. So he gets out the car and, he goes in there and he's looking for James, and he finds James, and, basically what it is, Jax doesn't even want to just have a conversation with the dude. He just basically just wants to fight with him. So, actually, let me backtrack it just a little bit. So before Jax even came over to SUR, we saw James. He was, at Sir, he was getting ready to do his DJing, and he's having a good time. And then he's talking to Sandoval and Ariana, and he keeps talking about what he's, talking about his rap. And Sandoval's like, man, that wasn't cool, like what you did, like. So Jax, a part of me agrees with, I don't really like Jax, but I don't like James either. But the fact that James disrespected Brittany, I'm kind of on Jax's side as far as beating James's ass. I am on his side when it comes to that one. So apparently they are not cool because Jax sent James a lot of threatening text messages. So then once Jax gets there and they talk, James is like, but I apologize. And Jax is like, it doesn't matter that you apologize, like you or fucked up for what you did. And then he tells James that he's not invited to any of he and Brittany's events for the summer. I'm like, well, fine, fuck, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you and Brittany. Like, what the fuck do I give a fuck about any of y'all events? Like, y'all not gonna be together for very long. Sorry, I had to say it, but So then James is talking about how Jax did something so nice for him, and I'm like, what could Jax have done nice for James? Then this motherfucker says that Jax gave him some limited edition underwear. I'm like, what man gives another man a pair of underwear? I don't care if you bought them, got them for free. Why would you do that? That is nasty as fuck. Like, ew. Ugh. So then, James is like, he made a mistake, but Jax just does not want to hear that bullshit at this point, which I'm on Jax's side when it comes to this whole Brittany James situation. So then, Lisa shows up at Sir, and she sees Lala when she walks in there, and she's kind of surprised to see Lala there, and I'm like, why is she shocked to see Lala there? Because we know last season she hired Lala back. So then Lala tells us in her interview that her dad passed away 2 months prior. So then I'm like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then we also find out that, which I knew this because I follow Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but we find out that Lisa's brother, he committed suicide 5 weeks prior. So that's something that those two have in common with one another. And they're just talking about how when people tell you, try to console you and tell you how things will be okay and whatnot, it just makes things harder for you, which it really truly does. I don't know. I know people don't believe that, but it does. And then we see my girl Sheena. She's in there. She's doing her thing. And then, she's at a table with a guy, and the guy was flirting with her. So then we find out that Sheena's boyfriend, Rob, broke up with her last year when he was doing this fantasy football thing, and how she's currently dating, what did she say, 3 different guys right now? I'm like, okay, Sheena, I don't really care about who you dating because you are a serial dater. Like, you married Shay, and then you divorced Shay, and you got with Rob, and now you're dating again. Like, take some time for yourself, Sheena. Like, learn who Sheena is. That's all I got. All right, I also forgot to mention that Sandoval was at the bar, and Lisa went up there to Sandoval, and Sandoval asked Lisa how was she, and she said, despite all the bad stuff that's going on, despite the bad situation, it went really, really well. So then Ken tells Lisa about how Jax came near and, went off on James. And then, James and them tell her why Jax went off on him. He didn't go off on you for no fucking reason. And, they tell her it's about him saying about Jax and Faith fucking. And she's like, that's completely unfucking necessary. Like, why would you do some shit like that? That's dumb as fuck. And then we also saw this scene where Lisa went up to Brittany and asked Brittany how was she doing. And basically, Brittany was humiliated. She was crying. She was upset. She was embarrassed. Like, you got a crowd full of people here that you hyping up, and then you're gonna mention when her boyfriend fucked another woman? Like, what the fuck? So Lisa apologized to Brittany, but Brittany like, you don't have to apologize to me, which she didn't, but it was a thought that count that Lisa apologized to her. All right, so we got Stassi. She and Patrick broke up officially. Boo fucking who gives a fuck? So she's dating this new guy. His name is Bo, and Bo looks like a hobo. No offense to hobos or him, but he just looks like a hobo to me. So she's meeting up with Schwartz, and then we get Jax there. So this is really odd seeing Jax and Stassi hanging out together, knowing their whole sort of history. Actually, this whole cast is disgusting as fuck. Like, I tweeted this. Like, this cast has shared penises and vaginas so much. Jax has slept with Stassi. He slept with Kristen. He slept with Faith. He slept with Brittany. Who has he not slept with? And then you got Kristen, who has slept with Jax, who has slept with Tom Sandoval, who has slept with James. Like, oh my God, like, you guys share penis and a vagina. Like, that is so utterly disgusting. Ew. So, Jax is telling them about the conversation that he had with James. And, Stassi calls James a little girl, which that is one thing that Stassi and I can agree on. James is a little pussy bitch. I'm sorry to say it. So then Jax tells, Stassi and Bo and Schwartz that he's going to propose to Brittany. And, Stassi's like, wait a minute. Am I the first girl? Am I the only girl to know? He says, yes. She says, oh my God, Brittany and I are going to walk our dogs tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? Shut your motherfucking mouth. That's what you're supposed to do. Don't say shit. Like, girl, shut the fuck up. And, Stas is basically like how a few months ago, with all the shit that happened with Jax and Brittany, she wouldn't have been here for, him proposing to her. And I'm like, well, who gives a fuck? Because you're not Brittany and you can't tell her what and what not to do. Like, these girls get on my nerves so something seriously. And I'm going to talk about that next, why they get on my nerves. So the reason why these girls get on my nerves so much is because they interchange friendships. Like, they change bras, panties, any kind of thing that you can wear. Because we have Kristen, we have Lala, and we have Katie. They're all going to get piercings. Now, it is so fucking odd because for the last 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, Kristen, Katie, and Lala have all been at one another's necks. But now these bitches are going to get matching not tattoos, but piercings. Like, what? What kind of fuck shit is going on with this? So, Lala is talking about how right now her friendship with James is non-existent because of all the stuff that happened with her and James last year, which I actually kind of forgot about that stuff that happened between her and James last year, and I still don't really 100% care about it. I know she said that her boyfriend that she was with last year, he's finally divorced, and she can finally say his name. Well, she said his name, but I don't know what his name is, and I don't really give a fuck what his name is because it ain't my business. And then Kristen gets on my Kristen and Stassi. Those two work my nerves the most because Kristen is upset about what James did at Sir and how he embarrassed her Brittany. Like, girl, fuck out of here. Get a life, Kristen. Suck somebody's dick. Do something. Like, oh my God, Kristen gets on my last nerves. Like, why are you concerned? Like, oh. So that's why these girls get on my nerves, because they are always, oh, you're my best friend. You're supposed to be my best friend, but you did this to me, and you did this to me, and I didn't like that, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, these girls work my nerves. But I'm going to stick with the show because, like I said, I love Vanderpump Rules. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, but the girls get on my nerves. All right, so next we see Ken, Lisa, and Jiggy. They are all over at Villa Blanca. And then, they're joined by Schwartz and Sandoval. And, they're getting ready to open Tom. They're close to opening it. And Lisa is meeting up with these two because she wants them to give her their cocktail menu, which they don't have it. But they talk about that they are working on it. I think she said no THC or anything with weed in it. And, Sandoval was telling her some of the stuff that he wants to do with the drinks. Some stuff she shot down, and some stuff she was like, okay. She still wants this fucking cocktail menu. And then, she tells them that Pandora is going to oversee it. So, Sandoval gets in his feelings once they leave. And he's like, I don't know that Pandora was a mixologist or anything like that. So why is she involved? And I'm like, well, shit, because her mama is the one that's putting the money, putting the bulk of the money up for this restaurant. So whatever Lisa says goes, and you can just shut your mouth and call you. You can just shut your mouth and let her call you Sue and shut the fuck up. All right. So the last thing, I'm kind of going to put it together because they all kind of mesh together. So we have Brittany and we have Stassi. They go to the dog park. So Brittany asked Stassi, what happened when she and Jackson met up after he left Sir. And, Stassi, at first, she looked kind of like, oh my God, do I say something to her? But she says, they just went out and they had shots. And, Brittany is talking about how, she's happy and how she feel like Jax has changed. I'm like, a lie don't care who tell it. I don't believe Jax has changed one bit. But if Brittany believes it, we gonna let Brittany believe it. So, she's also talking about how she and Jax were off for 3 months. So, Jax went to Florida to deal with his dad's death. And she went back home to Kentucky. And she hung out with one of her exes and they ended up having sex. And she didn't let Jax know that they had sex. So then we have Jax, I think it was Jax, Schwartz, and Sandoval. They're going to get this ring that Jax got for Brittany. And, Jax is telling him about the ring. And, he's like, he got the ring. It's a big ring. So once they see it, don't ask, they'll wonder where he got the money from. And he said that he got the money because his dad left him and his sister some money. So that is what he did with his money. And then, Sandoval's like, well, I want to know that you're doing this for the right reasons and not just because, she was there for you. And Jack says that is why I'm doing it, because when she was there for me, that let me know that she was the one for me. So then, the jeweler comes out and he shows them the ring, and that is a badass ring. I tweeted like, shit, I would take that ring and I would pawn that motherfucker in a heartbeat. So, but if Brittany and Jax like it, I love it. So then we see this fool. He's getting ready to take Brittany out, so he can propose to her. And the ring box is too big. He can't put it in his pocket because it'll stick out. So then this fool has the bright idea to shove it in his pants. And I'm like, that's even smarter. Like, so you're going to have a big ass bulge in your pants, but whatever, Jax. So then, they head to Malibu. And, he is, they're getting food. And then we also have Stassi, Kristen, Katie, and Schwartz. They're at Katie and Schwartz's apartment. They're drinking, and Kristen is talking about she thinks she said that they're going to Malibu. She says, I think Jackson's gonna propose to Brittany. And then they're sitting there for a little while, and then Stassi goes into the kitchen where Schwartz is, and they are talking to each other, whispering to each other, and talking about how hard it is to keep her from him. So then, eventually Stassi tells him yes, that Jax is proposing to her, because Katie was talking about she felt like it's too soon, which I actually agree with Katie. Like, I don't think that Jax and Brittany are in the right at this time in the right spot to get married, because like I said, Brittany last week said that she, in an interview, I don't remember who it was with, but I saw it on Twitter, that she doesn't still 100% trust Jax. And I'm like, if you don't trust the man, why would you accept a proposal from him? Which we did see Jax propose to her, and she accepted the proposal. So that was the episode. I'm really excited to see how this season plays out. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you later.